My name is Delissa, and I'm the editor of the ALO7 blog, and I'm here to interview ALO7's 2019 Online Teacher of the Year, Teacher Annette. Hello, Teacher Annette.
Hello, Delissa.
So, Annette, why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself, like where you were from, and a little bit about your background?
Well, my name is Annette. I am from Altoona, Pennsylvania, central Pennsylvania. It's pretty much close to the middle. So I'm a born and bred Appalachian girl, grew up in the mountains. Let's see, I have a good, stable family life. Like I have an older sister, I have a niece, brother-in-law, mom and dad. Actually grew up being homeschooled, so I had a pretty intellectually based childhood. I was really into comic books, drawing, painting, art, different cultures, really active in my community whenever I was younger. Then I went on after high school, I went to Penn State.
That's great.
I went to Penn, went there, and I graduated from the Schreyer Honors College. I had originally planned on being a musician, a classical pianist, but my interests were just a little bit too broad for that. I still do it. I still take piano lessons regularly. I sing opera on the side for fun. I play piano. I play pipe organ and piano for two churches. I do a lot of stuff. I have a lot of really different intellectual interests and backgrounds and things like that. And I taught briefly, well, not briefly, it was more like 2 years at a community college in central Pennsylvania. And I also give private music lessons. So that's a bit of my background. There's so much more than that, but that's the condensed version of how you get to the person you see today.
Well, obviously that sounds like a really interesting path from point A to B. I share a little bit in common with you in that I homeschooled some of my kids, so I understand what an intellectually enriching environment that can be. Growing up in the mountains, do you have any hobbies that are related to the outdoors?
Well, I like hiking. I don't get time to do it as much as I want to, but I enjoy hiking, going out in nature. Around here, you probably know the lingo. Sometimes instead of people saying creek, a lot of people like to go down to the creek.
Oh yes, I've heard that one, although I still say creek.
Yep. Yeah. So a lot of my childhood was filled with hiking, going on nature walks, seeing a lot of different kinds of animals. One of my memories when I was younger was going out with my parents up in the Appalachian Mountains, in the mountains between Pittsburgh and here in where I'm from in Altoona, and actually getting to see a bear and hearing a bear. That was pretty intimidating.
That is.
Yeah, at the top of a mountain. Yeah. So my dad's family, they came from this like Johnstown steel workers and factory workers, real blue collar, just down to earth type people. I had that. Both sides of my family, on my grandparents' side and on my parents' side, just very hardworking, blue collar people. My ancestors were immigrants on my mom's side. So I'm used to that hardworking, just down to earth. Always helping out, always just putting your nose to the grindstone and getting things done type people.
Which is, you can tell that they've passed that on to you, because I've worked with you a lot closely on some different projects for ALO7, and you definitely display those qualities.
Yeah.
So why don't you tell me, what made you decide to teach online?
Well, my mom started first. My mom is Teacher Catherine. If you guys ever see her around, like on Peely's or whatever, or if you've ever had to, you might have worked with my mom on some projects. I was working for a company as an executive assistant, but that position wasn't really working in my best interest anymore. I needed to go and try to find a job that used more of my teaching skills. And I was going to do that, but then life happened, and life very urgently happened, and I needed to do something else. My mom mentioned ALO7 to me, but at the time when they were having a hiring period, it didn't work. Then it came up again, and I said to my mom, well, what was that job you were doing again? I'm kind of interested in that. How do you do it? And I kind of put it on the back burner for 2 weeks. She said, the hiring period's almost done. You should apply. You should apply. And it was like the stars aligned, and I needed to. And I left my other job when my interview was coming up. I was like, oh, please hire me. Please hire me. Please hire me. Because
here you are.
Yeah. And I wanted to use my teaching skills more, because I loved teaching at the community college. And I loved giving private lessons and things like that. So I really wanted to use my teaching more than anything else. So that's what led me back to ALO7.
Well, and we are blessed to have you. So why don't you, can you tell me about one of your favorite teaching moments?
Oh, there's so many. One of the first happiest, like most fun teaching moments I had, where it was so magical for me, was, and you could probably find this on the YouTube channel, is whenever I had my cat Bella and I showed him to my students, and then my other student Linda, she brought her cat, and they were meeting. They're like meow 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 meow. We're having the cats all talking and laughing and giggling. And another was whenever I really connected with a student. His name was Max, and he wrote a letter for me at the end of our teaching. And we had sung Adele songs together, and he really talked to me about everyday life in China.
Yeah.
I really learned so much from him. So it was crazy to me to learn any of those moments, but that was one that really stood out to me, was how he talked to me about everyday life and how we really connected and really asked about each other's days and really got to exchange that. So those were two really special moments that stuck out to me.
Well, I'm really glad that you brought that last moment up, because I really feel like sometimes people wonder, how can you create a connection online with somebody who's thousands of miles away? But at ALO7, we have that opportunity because we have the same classes from week to week. And before the new regulations, some of those classes would extend for, like, as you know, 40 weeks. And so I think that gives us plenty of time to really create that deep connection and respect for each other. So, thank you for sharing those moments. So I would like to know, since you have joined ALO7, how has teaching for ALO7 changed your life? Has it changed your life?
Oh, it's transformed so many things. It transformed so many things. Well, first, it transformed the way my own stability. Like when I say I'm going to be somewhere, I have to be somewhere. And I've always kind of been that way, but this is the real testing ground. Like, how conscientious are you?
Right.
This job will definitely put you to the test on that. It's like, do not put conscientious on your resume for any of these kinds of ESL jobs, teaching online. Like, you got to take it seriously when you say, I'm conscientious, I'm reliable. Are you really? Like, this will test that. So yeah, I'm definitely to my word on that. Whenever we started putting the quality control incentive into place at ALO7, and I was like, well, wow, this creates a lot of things that I didn't realize I should be doing as a teacher. I was like, am I correcting every time a student says something incorrectly? Am I checking the grammar structure? How closely am I really listening? So it's changed the way I listen to people. It's changed. I mean, I'm not that person who corrects people's grammar outside of the teaching, because no one likes that person. I'm like,
that's true.
No one likes that person. So I'm like, no, I'm not at work. People talk to me. They're like, oh, you're an ESL teacher. You're going to fix my grammar. I'm like, no, I'm off the clock.
I'm off the, yeah.
I do not want to fix your English.
But one thing I bet you do find, I mean, you probably did this before teaching for ALO7, but do you use your hands a lot more?
I do. Well, I did that before because my family, like I said, on my mom's side, they were Sicilian immigrants.
Oh, yeah.
So everybody was already like, are you listening to me? I get that kind of thing.
Exactly.
So it came naturally, TPR. And my mom, you're going to love the TPR because you do that anyway.
Right, exactly. I find for me that I was doing it before.
Yeah.
I definitely do it more, tall, that tall man.
That tall man. Exactly.
So.
But yeah, I noticed there was this shift. It took about maybe 12 weeks, but I was listening to people differently outside of my work. It rippled out into everyday life. When people were talking, I was really listening. It was almost like a superhuman type thing. And then also when you have the timer and you have to get certain things done, I notice I'm much more time efficient. I'm like, go. We got to get this done. Come on. We only have 1 minute left. My brain knows what a minute means because I'm in class and I have to get this courseware done.
That's right. And the thing is, I love that because as you gain experience, you do get just a sense of that timing. So I feel like, even for myself, if I see, okay, I have 5 minutes left and we only have one slide left, wow, I'm going to have to think of a couple games to expand the curriculum.
Yep.
Go in there and pull out your, games that you have on standby all the time and finish the class with success. So
exactly. And I'm a lot more careful with the words I use. And I think of It's one thing when you're in a brick and mortar class, you can kind of go off the cuff and get a little bit like less precise with your language or
Right.
almost even be sloppy with the language.
Right.
When I'm working with my students and because it's online, it almost feels like you are on a TV show all the time.
Right.
And it's like, oh, the parents are going to be able to hear everything. The children will be able to hear this again. Or, other people are going to be checking out what you're doing and what you're saying. So you have to, your brain, it's almost like a new framework gets set up for you to really think of what the repercussions of what you're going to be saying and what you're going to be doing is going to be carried out in a way I didn't quite think about before. It's like, oh, I think about how my actions have consequences. Do you? Do you really? Because I didn't.
Right. I definitely am like you, definitely watch exactly what I say. And the worst is when you start to ask a question and realize, oh, wait, there's more than 2 apples in the picture. I need to say, how many apples are there? Or, instead of is or whatever. I'm not thinking of a good example, but
exactly.
you know what I mean? And then so you have to correct yourself on the fly if you notice that you've said something wrong, because obviously we are not going to be perfect.
Exactly. Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that, but I notice it makes me think 5 steps ahead of what I'm actually saying, and that's done nothing but good things in the classroom and unexpectedly outside of the classroom. I'm so much more careful. I don't always get that right, but I'm a lot more careful with what I say, and the brain filter is like amped up to 120 on a scale of maybe 1 to 200 or something. I don't know.
Sure. And clearly all of that has paid off, and all that experience and putting the energy into your classes, because you are this year's year. And getting back to that point, so ALO7 has invited you to China and is flying you there this month to help celebrate ALO7's 15th anniversary and to honor your award as ALO7's 2019 Online Teacher of the Year. So what are you most looking forward to doing while you're in China?
Getting to know the people there, I think. It's just getting, I don't know how to describe it. It's like whenever you just see a painting, it's different than if you have like say you have a painting of a flower and you see the actual flower in front of you. That's what I'm really excited for that to be a full experience of, just really trying to just peering into the screen of my students' lives every single day. I'm like, well, what's it like when you leave? I don't always ask that. I think about it. It's like, well, what's it like when you step out of your building? What is it like whenever you are just talking to your mom and dad and I'm not around? What is that like? Like, I'm excited to get a fuller picture of that and see all of the hard work that goes on behind the scenes. Because I often think I'm like, oh no, I'm going through this in my class in the AOC, and I'm like, what are you guys doing behind the scenes when this is going on? What's happening?
All right, there's so many pieces of the puzzle going in just to have that class that we teach delivered online. There's hundreds of people behind us.
Yep.
Together, the curriculum and the tech development of it. So many parts coming together to create this wonderful product that we have.
Yeah.
And then I think, that cultural exchange that you're going to have, that in-person ability to experience, that is very exciting. And I look forward to your trip myself, and hoping that you'll share lots of photos and videos.
Oh, of course.
Media, because I think it's very exciting. And you get to meet colleagues in person that you've only spoken with like this or via email and
we're all so busy, and just getting to have that. I liken it to, I play the pipe organ and you just see the keyboard, right? You don't see all the pipes. There's a whole other door that you open, and there's all of these majestic pipes that are there. I imagine that's what it's going to be like once I get to see our colleagues, once I get to see the whole group of people that bring our students to us. I mean, like an entire culture. I'm excited for it to go from black and white to color,
Absolutely. I'm very excited for you. And so I guess I will wrap up this interview and ask you, what advice would you give to new tutors just starting out teaching online?
Oh, focus less. I'm a very goal-oriented person, so I want to be careful with how I say this. I started with, have those goals set first. Like, everybody wants to be at the top of their game. Everybody wants to get that top incentive. Set that. It's not as complicated as you think. You have to set, okay, I'm going to focus on making sure I correct every grammar issue. I'm going to make sure I correct every mispronunciation and work on building that, listening. It takes a long time, takes a lot of practice, takes a couple weeks to get your brain into that mindset. Then once you do that, once you master that, focus on having fun. Now, not just fun, because not every student, there's some students, it doesn't matter what you do, they're just very serious. Focus
Sure.
on a connection. Focus on like you're having just like a cup of coffee, or you're just having a meal with these kids, asking and talking with them, because eventually you're going to be so used to correcting the errors that you're going to be more focused on, well, what conversation is happening, well, what does your dad look like,
Right.
what is your mom's favorite color, well, what do you like to do when you're not at school, and the learning just flows so much easier. So I say focus on mastering those things in the QC and having that stability, have those basics, focus on getting that if you really are trying to get to the top of your game as a tutor. Then once you have that mastered over a couple weeks, then go to the, well, I want to get to know you as a person. You're not work. Stop looking at the students like, oh, they're just my job. Like
Right.
get rid of that mask. Look at them like you're an actual person who's going to go on and do things in the world, and you're going to go and do stuff. Like, how is that not like you're just a bundle of possibility? I want to see where that's going,
Absolutely. I agree. Like that's one of the most exciting parts of our job is just getting a little inkling into what's going on inside their heads, and
Yeah.
being able to share a little piece of ourselves with them. And I think that's the beauty of teaching online. So I agree 100%. So anyway, thank you so much, Annette, for giving me this time to interview you. I hope you have an awesome time in China and that you share lots of photos. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Delissa.
All right, have a good day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
爱学习。
Okay, people do this every day as a job. I can do this. I can do this.
I won't sit here and smile at you. That doesn't help.
Annette. All right.
I'm sorry, I'm a goofball. I'm a huge
Now I'm gonna put bloopers at the end. While you talk, I'm gonna make faces. We're never gonna be able to do this.